Hey, what up, Flowmies? This is Gabe, and it's time for another edition of the ITF Flowcast. So this week we are going to talk with Peter Cruz. He's the owner of Clearvue Professional Window Cleaning in Las Cruces, New Mexico. He's also a sales rep for WCR. We're going to get to know him a little better. He's really interesting. He has a background as an accountant prior to being a window cleaner, and that really helped him as he set up his business for growth. So he's going to talk to us all about business structure. He's going to talk about CRMs. We're going to talk about organization, all the important things that you need to know if you're going to start up your own business, or if you're a new business owner and just trying to get organized. So you're going to really enjoy that. Probably going to just talk about different things that he likes, products and things like that. But he just has a really nice growth path from when he first started to now, and he's running several different trucks. So you're going to really enjoy the interview. So let's listen in now as we talk with Peter Cruz. All right, Flowmies, thanks so much for checking in. We are talking with Peter Cruz. He's the owner of Pro Window Clean out of Las Cruces, New Mexico. Thanks so much for joining us, Peter. How you doing, man?
I'm good, Gabe. Thanks for having me on your show.
Awesome, man. Well, we're so happy to have you. You're someone who I've been wanting to talk to for a while because we have a lot of the same friends. We know
Right.
a lot of the same people in the industry, and I always see your name and you pop up here and there. And so I'm glad that we finally made a connection. So thanks so much.
You got it. We both live in scorching hot areas. So
That's right. Exactly.
literally.
We have dust and heat in common.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good. So how long you been doing windows?
So I've had my business since October of 2006. So this year it'll be 16 years that
16
I've had the
years.
company.
But that wasn't always your background, right? You were involved
Right.
with accounting, right? Or bookkeeping, or
Yeah, exactly. I have always been interested in accounting. So I actually went to school at New Mexico State University. And later I got my degree in accounting. I worked for an accounting firm. And then I was the chief financial officer for a large building supply company. And I just wanted to do something different, start my own company. So I kind of started late at 38 years old. I started a window cleaning company, and it was just me out of the garage. And I did that for a long time. And just in the last, I'd say 3 or 4 years, I decided to take this to another level. So now we have 8 employees. We have our office. We have a lot more trucks, and we're growing still. So it's pretty exciting.
So what was it about window cleaning that attracted you? Because I mean, obviously, a lot of people they hear, oh, I'm an accountant at this firm. That seems like that's the dream job, right? That's what they're trying to get to, and you left it. So what was it? Was it just about owning your business? Was it specifically windows? What was going on?
It was kind of like it was nothing to do with windows. I mean, nobody, I don't think, thinks when they're a little kid, I want to grow up to be a window cleaner. But I kind of fell into it accidentally. I was working in this job. I was working a lot of hours. It was a lot of high pressure. I mean, the pay was good, but the pressure was huge.
Sure.
So I was actually thinking about just starting my own bookkeeping firm. And I went to happy hour on a Friday with a friend of mine that owns, well, he's the general manager of window tint company.
Oh, okay.
They do cars and houses and commercial buildings. And we're talking about, I was telling him how stressed out I was and how I want to do something different. And he says, well, you should start a window cleaning company. People constantly ask me about do we clean windows, and we don't. And the first thing that came to my mind was window cleaning. I mean, how am I going to make a living doing that? I thought about the guys on the border with the newspaper when I'm crossing for Whatup. And I'm thinking, how am I going to make money doing that? So I started doing a little research on the industry, and it was cool, from the industry that I did research on. And I told my wife, she's a banker, and she thought I was crazy. But I told her, I said, I know it's going to work because I have the business background. And I think a lot of window cleaners don't have that.
Yes.
They just clean windows, and then they have to stumble their way through the business part of it. I had that down. So I had to just learn the service and how it works with the industry. And I was fortunate enough it just went really well. I made a good living. I was able to quit that job because I started it kind of on the side first. And in like 3 months, I was able to quit my full-time job as a controller, CFO, and just dedicated to the window cleaning business.
Wow, very cool. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Most window cleaners don't come in with any type of business background. So how would you say that helped you, already having the accountant's mindset of starting a business?
Yeah, so I knew how to start businesses. I knew it was involved. I knew the best tax structure. So from the get-go, I was able to set up myself up to where I would be saving on taxes. From what I've seen, because I don't know if I can mention this, I'm also now a sales rep for Window Cleaning Resource.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah, I want to talk to you about that as well.
okay, cool. So a lot of new window cleaners, they get on these groups, they have those questions. And I think most businesses, the way they start out, they're just thinking about their craft. So I always think of the analogy of like, if you're going to take a long trip in your car, the only thing you think about sometimes is putting gas. You don't think about, let's check out the tires, let's check the oil, let's check all these other things that can break down on a trip if you're not doing them before your long trip. So a business, all they think about is, let me go rush out and buy a bunch of squeegees and some window cleaning equipment, and then I'm just going to go knock on doors and start making money. They don't think about setting up a separate bank account. They just start depositing their money into their personal account.
That's what I did.
So I think a lot of them do
I intermixed for years until
Right.
you finally talk to someone who knows what they're doing, and you just realize what a dummy you are. Yeah.
Well, and you're not a dummy. You're just, don't know about that stuff. So people get the window cleaning stuff down, and then it just kind of grows. It starts growing on you. And then at the end of the year, you owe all these taxes, and you have to go backwards. So it's like taking that long trip. You didn't check the oil, and then your car breaks down. So you're kind of hit like a stoppage point, and that's what happens to businesses. They don't think about the tax implications, and they don't think about paying taxes. What's the best way to set it up to where you're not paying so much tax? So I had the head start with that. I knew I was supposed to set myself up as an S Corp, LLC for the legal purposes, how to pay myself to where I'm not paying so much Medicare and Social Security, and avoiding the self-employment tax that so many pay because they're just doing what like you said you did.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so you had the administrative part kind of down. Had you cleaned windows before?
I hadn't, and that was funny too, because I got on YouTube. I had friends that around the town I lived in that were window cleaners or had done it. So they gave me like a little crash course. I watched YouTube videos, and I fell in love with the actual physical work. That was like, it was fun. And I had been in an office, and so like the first 2 weeks I was so sore climbing ladders. My wife was like, what are you doing? You're killing yourself. But actually it's good for you. The physical activity, you're sweating. I felt better after a while physically. So I like window cleaning. Now, that's what I had to, once we got so busy and I started hiring employees, I had to transition back to the office because I was used to cleaning windows, and I liked cleaning windows and the interaction with customers out in the field. But I don't hardly do that anymore. I just can't do that. We have so many customers. So
yeah, absolutely. So how long would you say it took you till you kind of got to where you felt confident in your window cleaning skills?
Well, I picked it up right away. I would say in a month or two.
Nice.
I was already pretty much knowing what I was, and I just watched videos. I turned into this window cleaning nerd. I was talking about window cleaning all the time. I liked it so much. People are like, yeah, that's real cool. But I liked it. I liked the industry. It's a niche cleaning industry. Some people think about janitorial, and I tell people it's like window cleaners are like those guys that sell those juicy oranges on the corner of streets. You don't know you want it.
Yeah.
The oranges are at the grocery stores. People, who cares? But you're driving along and you see this guy cut open this juicy orange, and all of a sudden you're like, I want oranges. I need that orange. And that's how people are with window cleaning. Once they see a professional window cleaner, they want it. And that's how it just spreads. The word spreads. If you advertise, they want to hire you because you clean windows, because maid services do it, janitorial services do it, but they don't, they could call them, but they don't do it as good as a professional window cleaner. And they know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of maid services too will find their window cleaner that they refer out to just because they don't want to have to hassle with it. I had one who used to do it, and they used to clean it, but they said they just always got complaints, just every single time it was a callback. And of course it was because they were using Windex and towels. So they were like, you know what, we just got tired of it. If you're willing to do it, we'll give you the work for our customers.
And that's how when I first started, Mary Maids, like the first week, gave me probably 30 referrals. So like right off the bat, I was getting referrals from them. So that like you said, they don't want to mess with that. And I'm okay with it, So
very cool. So who were some of the guys you watched on YouTube that helped you the most? So that way, anyone who's starting up themselves, they can kind of go to it.
Yeah, I would definitely use Steve-O, the window cleaner. I mean, first of all, I would say use him because he's just a great guy.
Yeah.
He's super nice, he's humble, and he's professional. I mean, and he knows equipment. So like I over the years, I think when I started, I don't know if he was doing videos yet. They were
doing them a while, but I guess you were back in the 2000s though. So,
I was like, I'm older than him. So I'm 54, so I'm up there. So when I started, I actually purchased like DVDs. That's how old I am. And I watched these DVD videos, and later on, it wasn't on
one of those hand film things.
Now get the squeegee, those voices from the 50s. No, I'm not that old, but so later on I started watching Steve-O videos, and then of course the WCR podcast. I started watching Jersey Josh, and he gave lots of good advice. I mean, I knew a lot of stuff. There was things I didn't know, and he would like fill in the blanks on certain, and I'd be like, yeah, or it would like make me feel good because I was like, okay, I'm doing that. So I knew I was doing it right, or sort of right. So those guys from WCR, and that's kind of why later on, I didn't used to buy from them, but I was looking for the perfect windowsill brush. And I've used every brush that's probably been made. And I found their brush, the windowsill brush with the red.
And the little thing that you hold. It's got the red long bristles.
Exactly. So I bought that. That was the first thing I ever bought from Window Cleaning Resource. And then I actually got a book from written by one of the Lamborghini's brothers, Chris. And I read that.
Is it the blueprint one?
Yes, the blueprint one. So I was like, these guys know what they're doing, and they seem pretty cool. You watch the videos. And I just started buying stuff from them. And what's funny is that back when I started, like in 2007, there was a gentleman, and I was trying to remember his name, but apparently he set the record for fastest window cleaner in the world.
Oh yeah, Terry Turbo. Yeah.
Well, this guy, whoever he is, he died of he had brain cancer or something like that.
Oh, you're talking about Will. What is his last name? Yeah, I know he was in the IWCA. Yeah.
Yes. So he actually came to my town. Okay. He called me, and I had lunch with him, and he talked to me about water-fed poles. And I was like, first of all, they were super expensive. And I was like, man, there's no way. And I thought, how can that clean a window better than doing it traditionally? And I had that frame of mind for 13 years. I did everything traditionally, even multi-story buildings, things like that. But I finally, and it was funny, it was during the pandemic year, I finally decided to buy my first water-fed pole system.
Nice. That's a long time to wait.
Oh man, I was stupid. Talk about a dummy. I was a dummy. The
His name
reason
was Jim Willingham, right?
that's him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was trying to remember
So
his name, but he's pretty, yeah, he's pretty well known in the US for sure.
so he took me to lunch. I mean, that was back in 2007. And
Mhm.
he actually did a little demo at the restaurant we ate with a water fit pole. And I was
Nice.
like, yeah, whatever, you know. And I'd heard about water fit poles, kind of, I didn't really get into the window cleaning culture, so to speak.
Mhm.
Like I just did my thing, I
Mhm.
worked. And then I started a few years ago watching more YouTube videos and
Mhm.
realizing, how many window cleaners are fighting with each other. But
Yeah, pretty much.
which is crazy. But then I started seeing other things that were beneficial to our business, and that was one of them. A huge one was the water fit poles. So I purchased
Mhm.
a couple of those, and that's really what cemented my relationship with Window Cleaning Resource.
Nice.
And then I went to the huge convention in Atlanta where I was hoping to meet you there, but because
Mhm.
of COVID, I know. But
Yeah.
we went anyway, me and one of my guys, and that's where I met Steve O, John Lee from Window Cleaning
Yeah, John
Resource.
Lee's nice too. Yeah, we have a good interview with him. Joel Lamb interviewed him. It's a
Okay.
really, I mean, he's so knowledgeable,
Oh yeah,
really good interview. Yeah.
I'm like I said, I joke around. I'm the water-fed boy of the team now, and not the water boy, the water-fed
The
pole
water,
boy. But I actually, when I bought the water-fed pole systems, I don't know like a whole lot about them because I wasn't in the field anymore.
Mhm.
One of my guys that works for me is like the water-fed pole guy.
Okay.
But I have to learn now about them since I'm selling them.
You're selling. You're gonna sound like you know what you're talking about, right?
Exactly.
Very cool. So how do you transition from that? Because you're obviously a window cleaner, you're busy. And now, did you approach them and say, hey, I would like to be a rep for you? Or do they call you and say, hey, we like your vibe, we'd love you to represent our company? How does that work?
From what I remember, the way I recall is that I kind of
Was this
just,
another happy hour situation?
yeah, I like to make critical decisions under the influence of alcohol. That makes me think clearer. No, I'm just kidding. Don't everybody go crazy. No, it wasn't a happy hour deal. I think I might have just thrown it out there. I do like sales and helping people too. Even now, like I used to have clients in accounting that still call me for stuff that I help them with their QuickBooks and things like that.
Mhm.
But it just looked like a cool company. Everybody looks really nice and professional. I thought I could learn more too about the industry. And I threw it out there, and much to my surprise, they called me and said, "Hey, were you really serious about this?" And I was like, "Heck yeah!" And I think one of the reasons why they hired me, probably not because I'm smart or anything, because I speak Spanish.
Well, that's
So
helpful for sure.
they
Yeah.
they needed a guy that spoke Spanish. I get shocked, how many Spanish speakers are in the industry
Mhm.
that are probably lurking, watching videos and on these groups, but they don't say anything
Mhm.
because they speak Spanish.
Right.
So now all the Spanish speakers call me, and I try to help them.
Very cool. And how is it working out for you? How long you been doing it?
So I've been working with Window Cleaning Resource since January, and it's been, a challenge to try to balance my business, being that we're
Sure.
having the busiest year we've ever had,
Yeah,
and also my personal life. Obviously, I'm
of
busy
course.
with lots of activities. I'm
Mhm.
married. I've been married for 34 years.
Oh, congrats.
So, no kids though. No kids. Yeah. I have dogs, but no kids. I took a lot of really hot showers over the years.
Yeah.
So, anyway, no, yeah, we never had children, and it's worked out. My wife's parents live with us now. We take care of them. So,
Mm,
but it's coming along, and I just hired somebody in the office that I'm hoping is going to take a lot off my plate. That'll
nice.
help me balance everything out. So.
It's worth. I know a lot of people kind of get nervous about getting office help and delegating some of those decisions to someone else because it's your baby, your business is your baby. But
Exactly.
oh, there's definitely what do you call it? Kind of a learning curve in the beginning, but once
Right.
that person knows how you like to run your business, man, is such relief, to
Because
not have to
you
deal
told
with the
me
day to
that when
day.
we
Yeah.
talked one time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I understand the psychology of it because I was the same way in the field. Like I didn't trust to just leave them because I had a certain way, and I'm very particular, being, I guess, an accountant, anal.
Hmm.
So, but fortunately, I finally found the right people, and they've been
Good.
with me a long time. One of my employees has been with me going on 10 years, and
Nice.
everybody else has been a long time. And I obviously learned how to run the business better in order to retain good
Hmm.
people.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that was a learning process too, because sometimes you get desperate and you hire someone just because you're desperate, and you regret it
Yep.
afterwards.
Yep.
Big time.
Absolutely.
So
Yep, absolutely. That says a lot about your business to customers when your employees have been there for 10 years. And I don't think, because, and again, nothing wrong with this type of business model. A lot of companies kind of have the turnover model, where they just pay low. Someone will work there for 6 months, they quit, they just hire someone else, and they're just kind of continually cycling through employees.
no, I'm sorry,
You-
that's stupid.
yeah,
I know you're being nice, but you're
yeah. Well,
just
I mean,
making your life miserable, because I
yeah,
kind of went through that
yeah.
myself. And you just, you know, you have to come to a point and realize I have to take this up, and you have to take care of your employees
Hmm. Hmm.
because they take care of you to a certain degree.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
the investing in them is an investment in the business. You want
Yeah.
them to achieve their dreams too,
Yeah.
not just be a slave driver. And
Correct.
in the long run, it helps you to what you want
Yes.
to achieve. So you're
Yes.
not, if you think I'm just going to hire these minimum wage guys and keep hiring and firing them, you're never going to grow. You're never going
No.
to grow, really.
And you don't have the consistency.
No.
But if you get a guy who's been there for 10 years, your customers develop a relationship
Oh
with that
yeah,
person,
and
and
it's a
so
girl too, so it's not a guy, but
yeah.
even
Yeah,
better.
even better. Yeah. I mean, and especially if they're in the office and talking, it's like when they call, even though they don't get you, they still feel they're getting the company. And I think that it's that transition from moving from you being the face of your company
Right.
to your culture being the face of your company. Because
Exactly.
if the culture is that way, it doesn't matter who's going to talk to the clients, they're going to reflect that culture. And that's what you want them to be focused on. And that's when they're going to be loyal to you, because they know that no matter what happens, the same culture is going to be there, and that's who they want to be a part of.
That's right. I always tell them I want them to love my brand, not Peter. Where's Peter?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
even, and that happens sometimes. The girl that I have that's been with me a long time, her name is Ruth, and they'll be like, "Well, where's Ruth? Crew today. This crew's great. I read one of your articles you wrote about the A team and the B team,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I explained that we don't want to make them feel like there's an A team and a B team. We all want to be the A team.
Yeah. Yep.
And we want them to love Clearvue, not
Mhm.
you know, Gabe or Ruth or Julian. I'm
Yes.
just throwing the names of my employees. We want them to love the brand. It's like when you go to Walmart, you don't go there because I love that cashier, Lucy. I hope Lucy's there today. I'll buy my groceries if Lucy's there. You don't go for the cashier named Lucy. You go because it's Walmart. It's a brand. And that's the same way I feel about my company.
Yeah, awesome. Very cool. Well, that's really good. Now, because of your business background, no, like for me, for instance, when I started, like I said, I probably went about 12 years where it was just me. I was a sole proprietor, had no business background. I kept everything in a paper calendar. I had a Phoenix map that I would flip to. I remember the first time I actually got a physical GPS thing that was on my I just thought I was like a rocket scientist after that. Now we're in the world of CRMs. Now we're in the world of other companies selling us things to help us to manage. So let's say I'm a new guy, I'm coming in. What recommendations would you give to me as far as CRMs, or any type of organization that I should keep in mind as a new window cleaner?
Well, when I first started, I obviously was familiar with QuickBooks, which is pretty much the the accounting software that I think lots of businesses our size use.
Mhm.
So I was able actually I figured out a way to, it's an accounting software. So I figured out kind of a way to put it in there as a quasi CRM. I
Okay.
figured out a way to do it, but it wasn't, as a true CRM.
Yeah.
So I finally started researching, and there's a lot of good CRMs out there. So, I'm not putting down any of them. Obviously, one of my considerations was price. So I personally, our company uses the customer factor, which
That's
is
who we
one that
use too.
a lot of people use
Mhm.
because
Yep.
first of all, price,
Mhm.
it's unbeatable. And it's fairly, I mean, the support could be better, I think, and more information on it, but for the price you're getting, it's a bargain. And
And not
so
only that,
now,
once you learn it, you know it. I mean,
yeah, exactly,
my office knows it better than I do.
exactly,
They're continually pointing out different things. Hey, if you would do it this way, this would
right,
make it easier for your text, and this would make it easier for. I'm like, oh, I had no idea that was even a feature. So
exactly.
you do learn it, and the times that we've had to call, they've been pretty on. We really haven't had too
Yeah,
many
I
hiccups.
mean, they're nice. I mean, you talk to the owner usually,
Mm-hmm.
which, sometimes I'm like, is there more people that work there? I mean, they have a gajillion customers,
Mm-hmm.
but overall, it's very good, and it's you know really helped us a lot. Like I said, the last 3 or 4 years, big things have happened. Waterfed polls, implementing a CRM,
Mm-hmm.
getting a physical office that's not at my house. All of these things just made my business double. I mean, we're going to
Mm-hmm.
double this year from 2 years ago, just
Nice.
because of those things. And now hiring an office person, which I had never done before, a person that has a lot of knowledge. So I'm hoping this is even going to take us to another level. And it's just by doing this, it helps everybody. Because sometimes the reason I didn't do this, I felt overwhelmed just thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Oh, you know,
Yep.
a new software, and
Mm-hmm.
I liked my book that I wrote my appointments in, stuff like that. But once you do it, there is a learning period. Nothing's easy, but once you do it, it's like, man, I should have done this a long time ago.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think that's the thing I try to instill in new owners. Because I mean, obviously they come in with certain expectations, or they've watched the videos and they already have kind of a mindset, and they're already thinking like, okay, well, what am I need to get this, Mormon, Wagdale, whatever,
Yeah,
brand, and they're already looking at all this equipment. And I'm like, you know what, man, rather than worry, just get some basic equipment, get good at that basic equipment, and put your energy towards the organization of your business.
exactly.
Just focus on laying a good foundation for growth, because frankly, your first customers you're going to get, you're not going to need a Mormon on a 20-foot
Right.
pole to
They
clean
don't
the window.
care.
You
Yeah.
just
Look at
just
me.
right
I'm
now.
using a wagtail.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't care,
Exactly. Exactly. I'm
or
like,
where
don't
you
don't
bought
worry
it.
about that stuff yet. Get good at the basic stuff, but focus on getting your business in line to grow. Because
Exactly.
if you were like me, and here we got started, and I just literally just was handed squeegee and a pole and a bucket, and it was like, here's some jobs, go do them, and I had
Right.
like an hour of training from the person who I bought the stuff from. There's so much that bad habits I just had no idea,
Exactly.
and like you said with taxes, where you're paying as a sole proprietor, it's you're paying out the nose in taxes that
Yeah,
you
you're getting
normally wouldn't
double
have to.
taxed. You're getting
Yeah.
double taxed. So that's what I tell people, take the time to do it right, set it up first, instead of, like I said, like going on a long trip and you're climbing into a junky car and you think by putting gas in it, that's all you need to do. The
Mhm.
tires are bald. There's no oil. You get going, and then halfway during the trip, you have all kinds of problems. And that's the same
Yeah.
way with a business.
Yeah.
Do all of those things at the beginning, then you don't have to worry about it anymore. It's
Mhm.
done. Then you're not having to backtrack and say, why am I paying all this tax?
Mhm.
You have people that, they make the money and then they're mixing it in with their personal. And then when
Mhm.
it's tax time, it's a nightmare. And
Yeah.
then you end up, you didn't do quarterly payments. If you have it set up like that and you owe $15,000 in
Yeah.
tax, it
Yep.
just accrues so quickly. So
Yeah, I never owed that much, but I did owe like $5,000 one year, and it might as well have been 15,000
right,
at the time.
that's a lot of money to owe.
It is,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and the thing is it was money I should not have had to pay if I would have been
exactly,
structured properly. So
exactly,
yeah, so
exactly.
guys, just talk to a tax professional, get set up right from the beginning. Even if you've only got 3 customers, just get set up,
Yep,
and like you said, get a separate account, and then that way you can just keep it separate. And the other thing too, I always recommend people do is rather than just take disbursements from the business when you get the money, have a salary. Have
exactly.
a set salary. That way, when you have the good months, that money stays in the bank. And then when you have the bad months, you have something to draw from, and it just tapers out. Because I went from in Tucson, I don't know how it is in Las Cruces, but we have the monsoon season. So when the monsoon season ends, October through December is insanely busy. So I mean, I'm making
Yes,
so much money during that time.
yes,
And
yes,
then, it slows down a little bit in January, starts picking up, and then spring cleaning comes, also a really good time. And then the summer hits, and it's just
yep,
nothing, just totally stops. And your ramen noodles for, 3 months. And then, of course, you're going into debt because you still got to pay your mortgage, you still got to pay your car, you still got to pay this. And then
exactly,
what happens, you're in a hole, and then you start the busy season, you get done with it, and you have nothing to show because you spend all that time paying off your debt that you had built up in the summer. And so
exactly,
if you can just have a salary where you're not overspending when you have the money, then you go into the busy season with on a level field, and you can actually make a profit during that time.
exactly.
And for me, I mean, I would pull my business out of a really bad spot, just with that busy season. So imagine if I started without being in debt.
Yeah,
That's what I
exactly,
that's what my logic was. And now that I've done that, it's just like, wow, it actually, it works. And I'm not without because, is it less than what I could be making? Sure. But now I'm not stressed out during the slow season. We don't have to worry
exactly.
about paying our bills because we're getting paid exactly the same.
So that's kind of a reason too, because our monsoon season's like yours too, and it's probably not as bad. I think it's a little drier where I live, but that's why I did add-on services too. So we do have, I used to think I don't want to get into it, but we got into pressure washing
Mm-hmm.
and doing dryer vent cleaning. So that adds like a nice chunk of money to our business to where when we are a little slower with window cleaning,
Mm-hmm.
um, and sometimes I'm glad we're slow. Like we've been this year has just like been absurd. I don't know what's going on. Everybody talks about the economy and blah blah blah, and it's all bull because we're all super busy, all the window
Mm-hmm.
cleaners, and we did have some rain. Like last week, it rained and we worked every day. We were working outside, it was rainy. And we would tell the people it's raining, or no, it's okay. I want you to do it anyway. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, this is absurd. I'd never seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
And we finally, yesterday didn't work because of the rain. There was some clouds and so finally, and it kind of gave us a rest,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But like
For
you
sure.
said, there are going to be times when it's a week or two of no work. You need to have something stocked away. And I try to, with my employees, I set up things to where I pay them bonus days, they're called. So if I run into that and I have money, I'm okay with paying them some days that they're not working. They appreciate that, keeps them
Mm-hmm.
surviving.
Yeah.
So it's just, you just got to find ways to keep it going because you don't want to have an employee. You think about it, if you don't pay yourself for a month, you probably wouldn't do that. You're like, well, I don't have work. Sorry, bro. Have fun. They're going to go get another job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you have to figure out ways to retain employees even during the slow times.
Sure. Absolutely. Very good. Now in your area, do you have a lot of competition?
Not really. I have an ex-employee, of course, that went and started his own, but you know, um, nothing close to the size. In the city, we're like it. If somebody
Okay.
thinks of window cleaning, If you go online and look, we have over 200 Google reviews, and it's growing every day.
Yeah.
Compared to the other ones, maybe have 18 or something. So we rank first. We have our trucks are all wrapped. You can see the shirts we have. I mean, we stand out wherever we are. So the competition here isn't big. And even for the city of El Paso, which is a city of about 700,000 people, there's really nobody there either. It's just like this,
kind of a
ocean full of fish
void
that I need to go fishing over there. It's just manpower wise, finding the right people is all the big
now
challenge.
would you consider something like hiring someone over there to like kind of expand?
That is actually my goal here, because I actually one of my main guys and another employee, they live in El Paso.
So there you go.
Once I get going, that's going to be his territory. It's just that finding the right employees is
it's tough right now. It's tough,
man. It's crazy hard.
Yeah, I went we had a real tough April because we were super busy, and I had employee get COVID. I had an employee blow out his back. I had another one blow out his knee. And that whole month I was shorthanded almost every single day. And one day in particular, I worked a 14-hour day. It was this huge house that was all glass, but they were having like a big party or something the next day. And it was all literally just like almost 3 stories of glass, just wall of glass. And then of course my water fed was acting up. So I manually pulled that whole house by myself. I did the whole thing. It was just an exterior only, thankfully. But it took me that whole day to do it. And I was supposed to have 4 people total that day, 3 with me and then one other guy doing another job. And I had one other guy with me. He went and did that. He didn't even finish. I had to go back. This was a Friday, so I had to go back Saturday morning and finish his jobs for him. And then I spent, like I said, 14 hours on that one house. They were really appreciative because obviously they didn't have rescheduling wasn't an option.
Right.
But it was like that the whole month. And we actually lost money because we had, jobs that were scheduled that we had to either, reschedule to the next month, or they went somewhere else because they needed it done.
Right.
And I was trying to find someone to work. I could not find a single person, not even an unskilled person who would accept the job.
No, and they don't want to work.
They don't.
Nobody wants to work.
And even on a temporary basis, I thought, well, surely someone will say, hey, I need some money, I'll work a couple weeks and just do some grunt work. I could not find a single, and I had guys call, but they were not good candidates,
No,
and one guy actually hired against my better judgment, and he ended up quitting an hour and a half into the first job.
Yeah, exactly.
He walked down, sat by the truck. He pulled out a bucket and just sat by the truck. So I'm not working. I'm done. This isn't for me. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
I was trying to hire. I had set up 4 interviews. None of them showed up. It's just crazy. I mean, and it's like, and I'm really picky now, and the people that I have are all like top notch, and I'm not going to upset that chemistry that I have by,
because it's not worth it.
No, it's not worth it. So I'll if I have to, push come to shove, I'll go out there like you. I think you're like 10 years younger than me though, so but
I'm 47. I'm not too far behind.
Yeah, 47 is good. But I mean, I do like getting out there sometimes. I recently, it was one of the hottest days of the year, and I worked all day, and I had to get on the roof because we were doing a dryer vent, and I almost got up real, and I almost fainted. I didn't realize I was getting heat stroke.
Wow.
So, but push comes to shove, I'll get out there, but that's not efficient use of my time either. So.
And that's where I got to the point is, what, I better serve my company by being in the office. And I still love it. Like you said, I'm the same way you are. I love cleaning windows. I love interacting with customers. So I don't see myself being totally out of the field, but I only want to be in the field 1, maybe 2 days a week. And the rest I want to devote to doing the running the business. And thankfully I do have a really solid crew right now. And I have people that I can count on. And I'm gonna be losing one right now. He's looking for another job shortly, but the guys that I got, like you said, we have a good culture, we have a positive atmosphere, and it's like you do not want to bring anybody in to mess that up,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
that's a compensation to your employees when they know they can come to work and there's no drama, there's no backbiting, there's no office politics. They can just come, do work, get rewarded, and be appreciated, and that's what we want to make sure our employees feel that way.
Yeah, and I have amazing employees, whether or not they feel that way about me. No, I'm just kidding. We had our during, it was COVID, but they threw a surprise 15-year anniversary party last October, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, I think we have a great environment. I do a lot of things that other business owners would be probably like, there's no way I would do that, and it's like, I got to do it for them. They have their dreams and they have their needs too. So some of them have families with kids. So if we help each other, everybody wins. So that's kind of my philosophy.
But I also think why that's important is because what you're doing is you're communicating to your employees that they are just more than a means for you to make profit.
Exactly.
And the world is filled with jobs where you go to work, you punch in, and you realize you are replaceable. They could care less about what's going on in your life. The bottom line is, hey, did you do your job so that we can make money? And people willingly go into those jobs because they pay well and they're miserable, and so if we can offer an environment where they know and understand, hey, you're not just a means for me to make money. You are a person that I want to help you to support your family, to like you say, pursue your dreams or your passions. And I recognize that, hey, window cleaning is not your passion. That's not your life.
Exactly.
So this is a means for you to be able to pursue your passions. And I want to be that because you're an asset to the company, so if you can communicate to that, and one of the ways is, like you said, doing just those little extra things that are not necessarily profitable, but they keep them happy and they keep them from looking somewhere else to work.
I noticed you touched on something that I learned too in the last couple of years, is that in prior years, people would start, it was a job. What I started doing is encouraging my employees to join window cleaning groups, Facebook, and I send articles. So now there's some pride. They have an actual skill. It's not just, a job. They're into the culture, window cleaning. So I noticed that helps the whole environment. I now that I work for Window Cleaning Resource too, I even incorporate that. Hey guys, I'm going to get this new product. I want you to test it out in the field and give me some feedback. What do you think? And like this morning, one of my guys, hasn't even been with me a year, but he's a great employee too. He called me, hey, this product, it's awesome. I just want to let you know we're using it at this particular job. Great feedback, for me as a salesperson for WCR. Even though, you post something on there and all the, trolls come out and trash everything, but I'm learning to ignore a lot of that crap. But there's so much, there's a lot of things that work for some, others that don't. Some like this bucket on the belt, others like this one. Different ways of doing things, but there are some fundamentals with window cleaning, and if you put them into practice, learning from the ones that have been doing it a long time, you're going to have success. That's what I did. I did stuff maybe a certain way, and then I watched Steve-O doing something, or some other guy, and I'm like, hey, that's a time saver, or that's more efficient. You have to be, to a certain degree, to be a successful employer or employee, you have to be humble, because if you're not, you're just stuck, you're not ever going to make improvements because you think you're right all the time. Nope,
you're absolutely right. I love that. I am a big proponent of using the term technician for window cleaners for using same tech. And the reason why I mentioned that specifically is because I've said that before, and you get it, like you say, you get a bunch of backlash of people. Oh, they're technicians. Are they working on a rocket? Are they scientists? They're not really technicians. They don't. It's just window cleaning. Stop acting like it's this thing. And I'm like, that's not reason. That's not the definition I'm using for technician. The technician is just a person who is skilled in a technique or a craft or an art, and we are.
Right.
We can use the squeegee in a way that most people cannot. Right?
Why are those people even on those groups? It's like if you think you're in such a crappy field. There was a guy the other day that said something. I posted something dumb, like a meme of a guy telling a girl. I don't know if you saw that.
Mm-mm.
And some people went wild with it.
Yeah.
You're just a window cleaner. And it's like, I'm sorry you feel so bad about yourself. I'm proud of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I make good money. People in the community see me as a business entrepreneur, doing something that's a niche industry. So it's like, either change your mindset or, stop being a window janitor if that's how you see yourself.
You're exactly right. And what I say to that is I say, hey, look, there's a reason why a customer is not paying their house cleaner, $20 an hour to clean their windows, but they're paying me $120 an hour to clean their windows because we do it right? We do it. There's a technique that we use that is not easily replicated.
There's
so
risk.
In my mind, there's risk. Yeah, if you're using a ladder, all of our techs are OSHA certified, so we have certifications. Exactly. We have other trainings and safety trainings and things like that. So we've done the work to be considered a technician. And I'm not ashamed to say that because, like you said, that instills pride in not only the ability to do the skillful work, but in the quality that you leave the windows when you leave. And that's what you want. If your employees can have that pride, now they're going to be consistent, and now they're going to go out there not just for the paycheck, although obviously that's a big consideration, but they're going to do it because, hey, I would never leave a window looking, terrible. This is my reputation, my name that's on it. And if you can get your employees to have that attitude, now you've got gold, and it's going to it's only thing it's going to do is benefit your business.
And that's something as an employee, I was an employee for 20 years. And I always say, if you're going to be a good employer, you need to be a good employee first.
Yes.
Because
100%.
You got a lot of these guys that are crappy employees and they just don't like to be told what to do. So it's like, I'm going to start my own business.
Yep.
And they do, and they treat their employees like crap.
Yep.
So at their job, they don't do it, and they expect other people to do more than they should. So I always try to say, take ownership in whatever you're doing. That's how when I work for other people, my mindset was, this is my company.
Yes.
I was willing to do whatever to make my company that I represent as if it were mine. Yeah. I wanted to show that to people, and that's the mindset we have. I would say that about all my employees. They have that mindset. Yeah. Yep. They just, their professionalism is beyond what I ever imagined they could do, and I'm so glad. So that's what we have to teach our employees, because if you just treat them like cattle, they're just not going to be professional. They're just going to be, like you said, thinking about a paycheck. And they're so it's like I told a guy the other day, you need to look at the big picture. Paycheck is huge, obviously, but there's so many other things that give you happiness in a job, and you have to think about that, because I could probably make a lot more money being an accountant doing something and be miserable, but I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I mean, making good money too, but I'm happy. Yeah. So, and don't care about, sometimes people want to be looked at. I have a suit and tie, and this means I'm more important. No, it doesn't.
No, all of that stuff that you said, I totally 100% agree. One of the things that I really appreciated, my dad told me when my very first job, like official job, I did some side stuff in the summer and things, but my first official job was working for Burger King. And I was making $4.25 an hour back then. I was just in high school.
Yeah.
And I remember I was getting ready to start. You know, I'm just excited because I'm gonna have some spending money, right? I'd never had spending money on my own that was any substance. And I remember my dad talking with me. He says, "Hey, look, bud, you're entering the workforce." He's like, "Your life is never going to go back to the way it was." He's like, "So what you want to do is learn from what you're doing now." He's like, "Invest in yourself." He's like, "Yeah, you're working for Burger King, but learn from them. Learn the stuff because that's going to help you later on, whether you work for somebody else, whether you start your own business, whatever." He's like, "Invest in yourself. Act as if this is your Burger King. Take that pride in it, because yeah, other guys are not going to have that pride, and they're going to look at you a little weird, but it's going to pay off in the future, you know." And at the time, I didn't really appreciate it, of course. And my personality is such that I was eager to do a good job. You know, I wanted to do a good job. I wanted to get the approval of the manager. And frankly, they had terrible managers. So
Right.
A lot of what I did went by the wayside and wasn't really noticed. But I always tell when someone's starting their business, I tell them I didn't take any business courses, but I learned everything I could about customer service from those cheesy videos at Burger King, at
Right.
Blockbuster, at Wells Fargo, all the stuff, the little rinky-dink jobs that I had throughout my life. I learned about customer service from those things, and I apply those things into my own business. And that's why I was successful. That's why I took off, and why I had such a good reputation in my community, was because of working at those little low paying jobs. But the training is excellent. You know, it's just that nobody really pays attention to it. And thankfully, my dad told me, pay attention, learn. I did, and it's totally overflowed into how I run my business now, you know. So
That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct. So I tell that to my employees.
mhm.
I tell them, watch me, because I learned, I had some really good bosses
Yes.
throughout my employee career, and I would watch them, how what they would do. They were mentors without even knowing it. But
Yes.
I'm that kind of person that I would watch and learn. And I tell them, watch
Mhm.
me, what I do, watch the mistakes I make, learn
Mhm.
from that. And I tell them, I'm not perfect. So don't, get too upset or discouraged when you see me being stupid about something.
Mhm.
But I try, and that's all we can ask of each other, is try to be the best employer, try to be the best
Yes.
employee, have good feedback, try not
Yes.
to be easily offended, because in today's society, you can't say anything or do anything without,
Yes. Yes.
triggering everybody.
Yeah.
So and I'm like the anti-trigger. So if you're gonna be around me or be my friend, man, yeah, I'm like totally honest. Just background wise, my dad, he's from Brooklyn, New York. I was born in
Mm.
Brooklyn, New York,
Oh,
even though I
okay.
was raised in New Mexico. So I
Mhm.
have that East Coast thing sometimes, and people around here are a little more sensitive,
Sure.
and I'm like, hey man, it's just, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm gonna let you know, and then let's move on.
Mhm.
And we don't need to dance around, why you're offended or whatever. Now, if I offended you and you have a reason, which sometimes I do, I can apologize and
Yeah.
hopefully mature enough to move on. But
Yeah.
there's just so many intricate things about a business for it to work. There's the tangible and the intangible things, and you have to
Mhm.
think about them, or else, your business isn't going to keep progressing.
Correct. Yep. No, I'm not like that, as far as I don't have like I'm not direct, you know.
No,
I
you're
do,
nice. I can tell you're nice.
I do try to be straightforward and honest with my workers, but I do try to code it as much as I can. What I've
Right.
noticed, and because of that, I've changed the way I interact with potential hires. There is so much more aversion to confrontation, or even perceived confrontation, you know,
Right.
that I'll talk with this. I talked just in April when I was trying to hire. I talked to this young guy, and it sounded like a great hire. Had experience, worked with a local competitor for like 4 or 5 years, and then he went to another job, was away for 4 or 5 years, and now he wanted to come back to Windows. So he answered my ad. Had wonderful conversation with him, just talked to him about stuff. And so I was like, well, let's give it a shot. The way I do it is I hire for a month. So it's kind of like a probationary period.
Right.
I'm like, you're promised a month worth of work. As long as you don't do anything really bad, that, I'll yank it. But you get a month of work, and at the end of the month, we'll reevaluate. I'll see if you're a good fit for us. You can see if we're a good fit for you. And if either one of us doesn't like it, both of us are free to walk away. There's no commitment. But that's what I give you. So you're guaranteed that. So I told him that, and he says, "Oh, that sounds great." Well, the very first day he called in sick, and he said that he had, I forget what it was, but he was ill. And I said, "Okay, look, man, it's not a good first impression to call in sick on the very first day when we literally just spoke yesterday and you said you were good, And he says, "Well, hey, look, I've got some health issues and I've got some, things that I got to deal with." And I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Well, listen, totally understand. Does not mean that you're disqualified from being hired, but you should know I'm wanting to hire someone who can work full time and take the load off of my back. So if your health is an issue, let's sit down and have a discussion about what you can and can't do. I may still hire you, but maybe it's like a part-time." I said, "But let's talk about it. Let's work it out." He says, "Okay." Never heard from the guy again. Never heard from him. Ghosted me, never replied. And I know why, is because he did not want to have that conversation. He didn't, because there was an ounce of confrontation in there.
In his mind, he perceived it as negative, when it was just, you just needed to know. And that's how, I try to, not to interrupt you, but I'm the same way. Like, let's just have an honest conversation. That's all. I mean, nowadays, though, any little thing is just perceived as negative. And sometimes confrontation, and that might be, that may be a bad word, maybe a frank discussion or an honest discussion, or I don't know. I'm learning too, because I'm the king of confrontation. And but I know I'm not that big of a jerk. I have like lots of good friends that have been my friends my whole life, and they're very honest with me, which I love. I'm honest with them, and my wife's still married to me, so I guess I'm doing okay to a certain degree.
but I think that art of communication is just, it's a few people have that anymore. They like you said, and I think a lot of that social media, it's so easy just to block someone, or it's just so easy just to say, "Oh no," just dismiss them. And then it kind of comes into real life where it's like, I can't even just have a conversation with someone honestly, where I just say my need. It's like, I'm not even, and I try to let them know I'm not judging you, or I'm not upset. This is a need I have, and I need to express that. And you can help me you can help to reassure me that you can still meet those needs. That's what I'm looking for. I'm still wanting to hire you, But so lately I've really been prefacing my calls when I talk to someone for the very first time, is say, "Hey, look, please don't ghost me. If there's something you don't like, or something this isn't going to work, or whatever, I'm not going to be mad at you. Please don't ghost me. Just let me know. Call me and tell me, hey, I'm not going to come in tomorrow because XYZ. Then at least I know, and I'm not like calling the whole rest of the week. Hey, are you coming in? Are you still going to come in?"
See, on that, I would disagree. If someone's going to do that to you, I mean, if you got to tell somebody not to do that, they're idiots. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's me.
But that's like everybody. That's like everybody now.
I'm not gonna like, hey, let me tell you, that I feel like that would be me telling somebody, hey, after you use the bathroom, please wash your hands. I mean, come on, man, that's common sense, And,
but it's just happened so much that
I know you're traumatized.
It's almost like yeah. No, but it's almost like a what do you call those?
PTSD or something, or
no, not PTSD. What are those advertisements that come out like a community alert or
Reminder.
whatever. Yeah. But it's almost like I'm trying to help this young person. Like, look, you messed it up with me already. Don't
Yes,
mess it up on other jobs. Look,
right.
learn from this. This, like you said, this is a common thing that I would never, the things that young people do today when I hire them, I would never in a million years have thought to do. Like I had one 17-year-old I hired asked me for a raise after 2 months.
Oh, I've had that one too.
And I'm just like,
I love the ones that mess up like 100 times. And then I'm like, okay, he finally did something right. I had this one guy, I had to correct him 100 times. He finally did something kind of right. So I thought I'm like to encourage him. I'm like, hey, you did a good job. Hey, were you going to give me a raise? I mean, I wanted to fire him right there for such a stupid question. No,
Yeah.
you messed up 100 times. I'm trying
Yeah.
to give you some encouragement for finally doing something right. Are you that dumb to ask me for a raise? I mean, if you're that dumb, please just leave. I mean, basically that's what happened with him. But it's just like it's boggles the mind.
Mhm. Well, and then
Asking
what?
for raises constantly, and something I never did when I was younger.
No, man. The other thing too is when they're making their case for that, and then they're telling you how bad the other workers are, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, all right. Like, so you're telling me
Yeah.
that this guy who's worked for me for 5 years and all my customers love him,
Right.
you're a better employee than him. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
How about this one, Gabe? I love the one that says, "But I work my butt off for you."
Right.
Like that's why I'm paying you to work your
Yeah.
butt off. I'm not paying you to not do anything. I'm paying you to
Right.
work your butt off.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
paycheck is your reward for working your butt off.
Oh,
But
I just had that conversation with someone, and I was like, because it was hot. I mean, it's hot, right? And
sure.
it's a hard day. And, I try to cut back the hours on when we get
Right.
into the summer. That way they're not out, the full, like,
Right.
because they're in the fall, we work 10 to 11 hours a day.
Oh,
But during the regular,
go crazy. But anyway,
yeah. But during the summer, we cut back, it's about a 7-hour day, and we start early and we try to end by, or 1 or 2, something like that, the latest. And we had, jobs and they were later. And the guy was just like, well, if you're going to be expecting me to work like this, you're going to have to pay me more. And I was like, well, the business pays you, not me. And the business pays you according to what's profitable, not according to how hard you work, because some days you're going to work hard. Some days you're going to have easier days. But if you have an easy day, but you're still making the business a lot of money, guess what? I'm happy to pay you.
Yeah.
But if you're working all day hard and dying, but when your quality is poor, your customer service is poor, guess what? you're not an asset to the company.
No.
So, and he happened to have a really bad day, because he was tired and it was hot and he was cranky and it was showing to the customer. We got calls and I sent him. That's when what had the conversation started. Was I sending him to go redo or go back to a house that he had left. And he says that, and that's I'm like, look, you don't obviously don't understand how businesses work, So it's just one of those things where they think, oh, I work hard, then I should be paid a lot and compensated. I'm like, I mean, there's a lot of low paying jobs that the guys work really, really hard, and this is we've agreed on a payment, and that's now if you want to negotiate that, that's certainly you're right, but it's not going to go well for you because I got all your records of what you've done.
I'm telling you, it's a challenge. I mean, it's a challenge to be an employee too, but it's a challenge to be an employer nowadays just because of the mindset. But anyway, well, I appreciate you having me on your show. That's for sure.
Man.
I'm actually going to be starting a channel too pretty soon.
Oh, nice.
That.
Now, are you in ITF? I can't remember if you joined it or not. Into the flow.
I haven't. I used to be. And you mean in the group?
In the group, on Facebook.
I believe I am.
Okay, I think you are too.
Yeah.
When you get your channel started, feel free to post in there. So we do have restrictions on vendors. As far as vendors can post like a straight commercial once a month.
Okay.
But podcasts are different, and we because we view them, even if they're have a commercial bent to it. We view it as educational, and we're all about education. So
Great.
feel free whenever you have a new episode, just post in there, and that way we can get some eyeballs on there. And because you have a lot to offer for sure.
Are you going to be at the huge convention in Nashville?
A lot of my wife is going to another convention for her work that she works with us too, but she's got a little side thing with selling Norwex, so they're having a big thing the week before. Okay. So a lot of it is going to depend on how our business does until then, because I have the miles, I can fly there for free. I can get there for free. It's just, can I afford the hotel and the food and then being away from the work, So we're playing it by ear. I would love to go. I've always had fun whenever I went to the huge, so I'm going to try and go if at all possible. But for sure at the IWCA, I always go.
IWCA, I want to go because it's in Vegas. I mean, that's super close.
Right there, just drive.
Atlanta was amazing too. I feel like now I'm going to benefit even more. I don't know whether or not they're going to have me man a booth or not. They haven't talked to me about that stuff, but I would like to,
Yeah.
But I mean, it's to the point now where I have to really, like when I watch these talks and everything, I've heard so many of them. You could almost like over-educate yourself. At some point, you're like, okay, I got it. Now I got to make a decision. I feel like at some point you're like, it'd be like sitting in a restaurant and looking at a menu for 5 hours.
Yep.
You got to make a decision. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to get the CRM. I'm going to use this CRM. I'm going to put this into practice.
Yep.
After a while, it's like I'm hearing the same things. They're great, but I'm hearing them over and over again. So I believe in continuing education. But at some point, it's like, okay, I got to make my time is so precious that I have to pick and choose when I watch those things. I don't want to watch. I got into it where I was watching like every podcast, 50 gajillion YouTube videos. And after a while, it was just like, okay.
Well, I got to where if I can't work and listen to it, then I'm probably not going to watch it.
Right.
I listen to business stuff, while I'm working, and I can kind of process as I'm working.
Exactly.
But I feel like I'm doing something still,
Exactly.
But, no, I think you'll do a really good job with ours. We really try to focus on the people, getting to know the people in the industry, but also their philosophies and ways of doing things. Because I think that's what we can offer. We can, like you said, we'll have different points here and there that are practical. But for the most part, I just want people to kind of get a feel for how the other people in the industry do things.
And it's necessary. It's necessary because people are constantly entering, and they need this information that maybe you've heard 1,000 times, but you need to share it with them. And I get surprised when I get on the pro group, how just weekly on the Facebook group that WCR runs, there's just so many inquiries about everything, that basic stuff, which is fine, when you're new. I feel bad for them when, these guys get on there and put them down, but, sometimes there's a lot of questions, and I'll ask a question even. Sometimes that something will pop into my head that I want to just get the feedback from other, like guys like you or other guys that have been in doing it forever. But now it's like to the point when I think when you hit 15 years in the business, you've seen and heard a lot of stuff already. You're not a guru, that's a negative connotation, but that's like I say, you've just been around long enough that you've seen and done a lot of stuff, and you can share this with other people. They can take it and do what they want with it, think you're dumb or, well, that little point was good. I'm going to put it into my business. And, that's what I wanted to, I like sharing stuff like that. The thing with WCR is it's a little kind of a bonus because you share stuff and then they buy stuff from you. So you're not getting paid necessarily to be like a coach or sell some course, but, which a lot of stuff is so common sense. I just think people don't take the time. They want like a course and then immediately to have success. And it's like, it's like my dad, when he retired, I bought him golf clubs because I play golf, and he went to the college and got lessons with a pro, and he expected to be like Tiger Woods. And I'm like, no, I mean, it takes constant practice.
Yes.
You have to keep going, and he's impatient, so he didn't play golf anymore. And it's like, you can buy a course. I don't, I'm not against them. I've never done it. But there's so much free stuff out there too.
There is.
And basically a lot of the stuff they're saying is what you're paying for anyway. And, put it into practice and you're probably going to have success.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Peter. Well, thanks so much, man. Like I said, I look forward to your YouTube channel or whatever it materializes as. And yeah, let us know. I'd love to do that, and really appreciate you taking the time. Thanks so much, bud.
It was a pleasure, man. Keep up the good work, Gabe. I appreciate you. And your articles in the American Window Cleaner magazine.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Nice.
That's one of my favorite things to do. I don't always have time for. I'm always submitting the articles late, so I'm probably causing them to age prematurely over there. But it is one of the fun things I get to do. So it's enjoyable for sure.
Thanks for your contributions to the industry. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, I look forward to seeing yours as well and your continued growth with WCR and your own company. So wish you well.
Thanks, Gabe.
All right. And thank you, Flowmies, for listening. As always, hope you guys have a great weekend. And as always, flow on.